Toby and Chris were lost, but it was here at this church that they were able to reignite the flame they never thought they'd find. All right, so obviously the Sparkettes of Montana have many talents. They can dance and they're ready to scare the pants off of you tonight at their haunted house. Starts at 7 o'clock, it's $7. Get out here, they're ready to scare you this Halloween night. Back to you guys. Now lastly, Roxy has a sort of unique story. Do you want to tell us about that?
Well, Roxy was born without a foot, and that's pretty much it. She wears this boot a lot, and she still gets around pretty good. She's pretty brave. She's just a little fighter.
Well, I'm so glad that Roxy was still able to find a family along with these two, and that's what the Great Falls Animal Foundation is all about. Live at Stretcher Mud, I'm Emily Scarlett. And I'm Emily Scarlett. It's a very special evening here at the Montana State Fair. Chicks and chaps tonight. We're really hoping the weather holds up. Toby Magruder is a two-time national adult fiddle champion. Her music is where this story begins over 20 years ago at a mini mart.
She would come in the mornings to get a pop on her way to work, and I was going to ask her out the next time she came in because she was caught my eye, and so she never came in again.
But a chance meeting at Willie's Saloon where Chris was taking free dance lessons set these two on a path some may call fate.
I made sure I told him I was playing in a band the next Wednesday, so maybe I would see him again.
And they did. And after going on their very first date, 42 days later, they were engaged. 3 months later, they were married. But the marital bliss didn't last long.
I had a real fiery temper. He's really even-keeled. I'm typically the one that fights.
11 years into the marriage, the two reached a breaking point, and like a sign from God, Chris learned their church would be offering marriage encounter. Toby and Chris were lost, but it was here at this church that they were able to reignite the flame they never thought they'd find. This week, North Korea testing 6 short-range missiles in just 3 days. This coming after already high tensions in the region, with North Korea making nuclear threats against both the U.S. and South Korea. But should these threats be taken seriously, and is the U.S. prepared for the worst? Paige Kim is originally from South Korea and just recently moved back to the country after several years here in the U.S. She tells me her return came not long before these threats were made and says not being used to the culture of the Korean Peninsula, she didn't know what to make of the threats.
Okay, what is going on? I'm so scared, like the war is going to happen.
Her fears were shortly put to rest after speaking with her parents, neighbors, and fellow church members who assured her these threats were nothing out of the ordinary.
We've been getting these threats since we're young, so they're used to these kind of threats.
Surely threats of nuclear missile launches are nothing to take lightly. Major Cody Smith with the Montana Air National Guard agrees.
Any responsible member of the United States military, we take threats to our United States sovereignty and our security very seriously.
And while there has been no change in protocol specifically in response to North Korea's recent threats, Major Smith says the National Guard is always training to respond to any broad spectrum of situations that may occur.
One thing that history has taught us is that we should never be complacent. There have been plenty of examples in United States military history where complacency has caught us off guard. I'll give an example of Pearl Harbor. And some people would say that 9/11 was also an example that we got complacent.
Paige says it's not just because these threats are reoccurring that South Koreans don't take them as seriously as they may have in the past.
South Korea is more confident that either we have more power than before and that other countries like the U.S. will actually help us.
And while Malmstrom officials declined our request to speak on camera, they did issue this statement saying Air Force Global Strike Command, to include Malmstrom Air Force Base, remains fully prepared and capable of defending the United States and our allies, regardless of North Korea's actions. The nuclear deterrence mission of the 341st Missile Wing dictates that we stand ready for any contingency up to and including nuclear war on a day-to-day basis. Hence the namesake of our weapon system, the Minuteman. From the ABC5 studio, I'm Emily Scarlett. All right, so obviously the Sparkettes of Montana have many talents. They can dance and they're ready to scare the pants off of you tonight at their haunted house. Starts at 7 o'clock. It's $7. Get out here. They're ready to scare you this Halloween night. Back to you guys. All right, so obviously the Sparkettes of Montana have many talents. They can dance and they're ready to scare the pants off of you tonight at their haunted house. Starts at 7 o'clock. It's $7. Get out here. They're ready to scare you this Halloween night. Back to you guys.